Welcome to the Mr. Solution RD system. This time we are going to test the new update that has been made to the system. And today we are going to make the sale. For example, the first thing we must do is log in. Let's log into the system. We think all is well. Perfect. It will ask us for the cash register when starting. If we do not keep a cash register, then we only start it like this. Now we already have the system at the point of sale, right? So now we just need to add the products. For example, I have several products in another video that has been made. It shows how to add the products. In this I am only going to focus on the sales area on this screen, which is the sales area. Okay, we're going to add a TV, like in this case the 1432-inch TV. Hey, we have a unit. The price, the tax. This changes. This word changes according to the country where it is being used. Another video also explains the system configuration. Okay then, step 1. We add the product. Step number 2. We add the client, right? In this case, yes, if we are in the Dominican Republic and we are looking for example, a client by RNC, then the DGI system will send us the corresponding data. For example, in this case I could search for hey, let's search here. We give you search and the data will appear instantly. Sometimes it will take a little while because it consults the DGI database, but here with this it would already be true. So if the data exists, alright, we only close it if we are going to add the client. For example, if it were a client that did not exist, we are going to put something extra here. The system detects that this client does not exist and we can add it. In this case we are going to use this data that already exists in the system and we are going to make the sale, because we get the last window, that is this one here, that says to generate the invoice. Here we can choose the vouchers. For example, we have the proof that for the final consumer, which is a government tax receipt, whatever we can add in the system that is necessary for our sale, we are going to use the final consumer, which is in the Dominican Republic, the B02, or it starts with the letter B02, right? Then we will choose the payment method. In this case we can leave it that way because it is in cash. It is a sale that we are going to make in cash, that we are going to make another on credit, and we are going to make another sale in different functions. It should be noted that we have different payment methods. As I have mentioned, there is cash, credit, financing, transfer and mixed, such as cash and transfer. We have a card. We have installment cards. It is another function. Card and cash. Card and transfer. Card transfer. Cash. This is a triple action that is used in the system. Meanwhile, I'm going to use the cash one. I am only going to give you cash here because the money has already been given to me for that invoice and I am only doing what the invoice is. Now if I put it as pending, the state would leave it pending. Here I am going to leave it as it is because I am not going to use financial institutions, since it is not a financing but a direct sale. Discount. I'm going to leave it like that. I will not discount this sale. Hey, these buttons will come from that one. Disabled inversions. Because taxes are supposed to have already been included depending on their respective countries. If that is not the case, in any case, here we have the function of including the tax. For example, if I include the tax, it leaves the total as it is and the tax will be SE. That will be included, that is, it will be below the price. If it were the opposite, then the tax would be above the price. We're going to leave it. Let's leave it as it was and choose the printer. If we use a thermal printer or use an ink printer, we are going to use the thermal printer for this sale. Then we will use the ink printer for the other sale. We have already chosen the client. We're not going to touch that part. The guy here. The document type is an invoice. If I wanted to make a quote, then I would change the quote. For the purpose of this test we will use the invoice. And this is where the calculation of the return of the change is used. For example, if I eat this TRE of 30,000, well, we are going to leave it that way because we are going to assume that the client did not pay in full, but will pay with 35,000 for example. Sorry, 35,000. The change would be 5,000. But since he didn't pay us with 30,000, we are going to leave it as it is. Here we use the ATM that already comes by default, that is, with the person who registered. The seller also defaults to the person who is attending at this moment, which is myself. But it turns out that this is variable here, since the person who is a cashier is often not the same person who is a salesperson. If I had more vendors here, the vendors would come out and I could, put that sale on it, that is, add that sale to that vendor so that when the reports are made, per vendor, I can make that sale for them. If we use the commission system, here we also have the part of the inst functions can be deactivated in the configuration panel now, and here we have delivery. If we are going to choose a delivery also to carry that purchase, right? We can add a note, for example, a note to this invoice. If I want to add, for example, the guarantee note, this would be the guarantee note, which by the way, all this is in the database and we can change it. We can also add it personalized. For example, this is a test, and we are going to close it. This window will appear again. We are going to give you to generate the invoice, and the invoice will start the system. The generation part is already generated. Here we have three options. The first option is to make another sale. That means that we will not print or send this invoice. The other would be to send it by WhatsApp. This would send a link to the client. If we have it registered with the WhatsApp number, and the client will be able to download their invoice in PDF. And the last one is to print, which is the most common. That is why it is marked. It's coming, It already comes here selected that we can give enter or we can click and it will come out here to print. If I had a printer connected right now, for example, the thermal printer would come out like this. And if I had an ink printer, it would really come out, You would have to change it in the system before specifying that it is an ink printer. For example, here is the thermal printer format. We are going to close and I can bring me back to the system here and I can, reprint that invoice, for example, which is the last one, number 16, I can print it, I can edit it, I can see the data of client, can I make a return of the products, and also, for example, can I reprint it here? Selecting the printer. In the previous case we printed with a thermal. Now we are going to print with ink and we are going to see the difference. Here it is seen. You can see the letter size invoice format, which is the one we use mostly here in the Dominican Republic. We use it. Let's see what happened to us here. Here it is very good. It is not possible to appreciate it well because I have the zoom activated. But let's see, in another tab. Let's see in another tab. Right here. Let's do this in another tab. Let's place and now if now it is seen, for example, it is seen in the line and all that. This would be the invoice format. In this case, in the case of which they are letter, that is, letter size. And again I'm going to give it here. It should also be noted that here, on this button that I have been clicking, if I have a quote, that is, since I am here, I am going to explain it. If I have a quote, I can convert that quote into an invoice and we will see that in the next video. But we are returning what is the bill. I can convert that invoice to PDF to send to Apple. WhatsApp by different, for example by mail. I don't know, by different ways or means I can use that. I am going to give you here to generate PDF. The system opens and generates a PDF for me. Here is which I can download, that is, it is already downloaded to the computer and I can send it, right? I can forward that PDF. Let's see here. I'm going out again. I'm going back here. I'm going to hit F11 to enlarge the screen. This button, as we already explained, this customer button, the customer is searched for here. We can add a default client. The default client is the client without records. It is a quick client of your client that is not saved in the database, and we can also add a new one. The fields would remain empty if I click on Add New. I do not have the auto completed. That should be highlighted. For example, here I get the auto completion, but this from the browser is not the auto completion of the system. If I give it, for example, select client and I now put Tomas, see that now the system auto completion does come out. that stops. Hey, this part, hey, is to prevent you from having a customer with a similar name and being selected by the system by mistake. So we have the clear this button part here, which is, for example, if I have a product or I have several products instead of me, for example, if you want to delete one by one, if there are 20 products, there are 5. To avoid all this time, of course I can delete it from here. Yes, if it's 1, if it's 2, but when there are 20 there are 5, there's a lot of product, which is a long time. That's what this button is for, that I give it to clean and it already cleans my system. Here I also have this button that is for price search. If a customer comes asking for a price, I don't know. At that time I can search for the article. I click on it from here outside, that is, here in this blank one, and it will come out the product, the name of the product, the sale price, that is, the total price, including taxes and all that. It depends on how I have configured, of course, the issue of taxes and how much I have in stock. In other words, that is the existence of the product and its availability. If the existence is 0, then here it will turn red. If the existence is, for example, 1, when we are adding the products, the system asks us, or there is a field to add for it, and that the system tells us when there are X quantity left. For example, if I put this product has an alert of 5. If the system detects that I only have 5 left, then it will put this button in B, in yellow. Since it is more than 5, it turns it green, and if it is less than 5, it may be arriving. For example, if it is at 0 it turns red, and so this part, the location in the warehouse, is to be determined, that is, which indicates your location. Where have we put it? For example, sometimes we have warehouse. Attend what? They use storage, cubicles and stuff. And for example, it's in cubicle A, sector B and things like that in sector 5. It depends on how the warehouse or store is organized already. And that's it. Here he makes a new sale in case we have products and all that stuff. And we have a lot of things here and we want to clean everything and refresh everything. So we're giving it a new sale. However, here we have a field that says save. This field very particular, because if there is a customer who is buying from me at this moment, for example, they are asking me if I want the television. And I ask him, what is your name? Well, my name is Tomas, right? My name is Tomas. We are going to suppose that this is I can, if the client wants to continue seeing in the store. And I want, to keep this product that I have already built for you, that is, I have it there in view. I can save it because I already selected the customer. I can save it and it will appear here as a sale in progress. That means that it's going to be saved until the customer returns, and I can then, go back to continue selling to that customer. I can sell and it doesn't interrupt, the processes don't crash. For example, I am going to sell, now I am going to sell something that says, for example, test. This not, let's see, one that has stock. Will it be the same TV? Wow. I'm selling it to sell here. First the product, then the customer, and since the system thinks that I'm going to sell Tomas, I say no. In that case, I can put a new one on it. I can select here again and look for another client. For example, hey, let's see this client. Now I am going to sell you. I am going to sell you with a final receipt, that is, with the final consumer. It will not be credit, but will be in cash. Hey, cash, final consumer. It's an invoice. Everything is correct. I'm going to give it to generate. I am generating. I have already generated the new invoice and I don't want to print it. Since I don't have a printer right now, I'm going to give another sale. That clears the whole screen for me. But here are still the products of Tomas Tavera, that is, of this client who is in the process. If the client comes back and wants to continue with the process, I'm going to give it here, right? I'm going to hit this part and now I can, because I'll come back and load the client. I'll come back and load it. I can then generate your invoice. The invoice has already been generated. Now many clients have been generated. Now many clients have asked me why it doesn't get deleted. He is selling in process. I mean, why isn't this deleted? And I have explained to him that this has it has more than one function. Because for example, I am certainly selling to Tomas Tavera, in this case to this client, but I can eliminate him, right? I can eliminate what is there and no longer, nothing happens. Now why do I keep it? Because if there is a product, for example, there are products that are combos and I want to save it so I don't have to write it all the time. For example, I can write the television. I can write one called hey, new test, right? And I already have 2 products. I'm going to save that with a name. For example, I'm going to give it a new one. I'm going to give it here. I'm going to write a name for it. For example, combo TV plus, another article, for example. It's a way of saying I'm going to close it. I'll close it here and I'm going to save it when someone comes and asks me, that is, they want a television and it's another article. I just have to click here and change the client. For example, in this case I can put the client. And now I can sell that same product to that other client. That's to avoid rewriting and writing the same product. If it is a product of high demand, right? For example, to load the product I click on it and to remove it I also click on it and nothing happens anymore. Those are the fast selling products, that is, the products that sell the most for that case. Sorry if there is a product, hey, that, which is not in the system, but I have it and I'm going and I want to add it to this sale. I can add it. For example, to put new product, we are going to put $100 on it, we are going to add it, and there it is. If I want to add the tax included, well, the rest of this form would be much more practical. So the same thing I already have here. I have it this way. I am going to sell it, to generate the sale. Let's see how I don't have anyone here. I will generate it. But the sale, and that's it, there is. With this, I believe that we can now conclude the sale part of this system. Here is another button which is the Add Product button. This button will be enabled in a future update so that we can add a product to the system from this window without having to exit. So without further ado for this video, thank you for watching the video. Subscribe and share and you can send this video to someone who needs the system. And here they will be coming out. For example, here is the number so you can contact me and purchase the system.